Hello everyone. I'm Christy Beckman, Director of Technology for H.B. Fuller's Global Hygiene business. Today we're going to talk about the changing dynamics of the adult incontinence market and the next generation of products enabled by H.B. Fuller's new Conforma stretchable adhesive. Just briefly, for those of you not familiar with H.B. Fuller, we're a global manufacturer of adhesives and specialty chemicals with a headquarters in St. Paul, Minnesota. We have over 4,000 employees and a local presence in 43 countries. Our team supporting the hygiene nonwovens market consists of dedicated and trusted experts in technical service and engineering, research and development, product development, sales and marketing. We have adhesive production plants strategically placed all over the world, as well as technical centers of excellence in every region. With these technical centers, we implement the latest coating technology and equipment to mimic our customers' production environments, allowing us to test our products under an array of conditions. Our latest greenfield adhesive manufacturing facility for the hygiene market just opened in Surabaya, Indonesia. We continue to invest in this market to support our customers and co-suppliers so that we can continue as an industry to create value through innovative absorbent products. We believe in bringing big and potentially disruptive innovations to the nonwovens industry, and that's what I'm here to talk to you about today. We're about to immerse ourselves into the world of adult incontinence. Here's an overview of what we'll cover in the next 20 minutes or so. We'll get into how the market for adult incontinence products is changing, dig deeper into what new product segments will likely result as the baby boomer generation comes of age relative to incontinence, and think about what the next generation of products could entail. So first, the changing market dynamics for adult incontinence. Have you ever sat back and really thought about adult incontinence and how it could affect you and those around you? How many of you think you'll experience adult incontinence at some point in your life? Well, if you think you'll live past the relatively young age of 65, you'll have to come to grips with the fact that over half of us will suffer from some sort of incontinence in our lives. According to the CDC, over 50% of non-institutionalized people age 65 or over suffer from incontinence issues. 50%! Flip a coin. That could mean you or someone you love. So let's think about that for a minute. We'll first explore why this number is higher than you might have guessed, and then we'll get into some of the other complicating factors for managing incontinence while striving to maintain a high quality of life. Let's first look at the regions that are leading in the need for adult incontinence products. This map shows in blue the top regions for adult incontinence product sales currently. North America, Western Europe, and Japan are the regions seeing the highest usage. Just these three regions make up more than 4 times the usage of all these green-colored countries combined. These three big markets are so much bigger than any other pocket of usage of these type of products around the globe that the trends coming out of those regions logically will drive global product development trends in adult incontinence. So let's take a look at the US specifically. What is driving the demand for products? The audience is surely aware of the drivers listed in blue and orange. The companies listening to this webcast have done a lot of work to reduce the stigma around adult incontinence and make products more convenient for users. Think about the Underwearness campaign, the Tenna Twist, etc. People actually talk about incontinence these days versus even just a few years ago. The fact that people are talking about it leads to increased levels of knowledge in the consumer community. More active people can purchase and try out a number of different products before choosing their favorite brand. People in need of these products, but under the care of others, can express the features they desire in a product and influence buying behaviors. It drives a demand for choices in product offerings. These days, it is also possible to purchase adult incontinence products without suffering the embarrassment of having them in your shopping cart. Discreetly packaged products can arrive at your door within 24 hours of an online order. Product innovations of late have also impacted the quality of life for those suffering incontinence. We'll look at some of those in an upcoming slide. The consumer characteristics we'll take a deeper dive into now include the baby boomer effect and rising obesity rates in the US. These are both interesting because not only will they continue to drive volume growth in the use of absorbent products, but they will also have a large influence on the next generation of products via the product designs demanded by this very powerful group of consumers. Due to the baby boomer effect, which is the high birth rate that followed World War II, there are a lot of people in their late 50s and early 60s right now. Remember that statistic where over 50% of those aged 65 plus will experience incontinence? Well, that's right around the corner. You can then deduce that by 2020, there will be 8 million more people in need of products to help them with incontinence issues. This is staggering, even in comparison to the anticipated need for baby and fem care products. This consumer group is also different. Many of us know their consumer power, with more excess income than the generation that came before them. There's another important difference. As we were doing research around this topic, we saw reference to a term that I really like because it describes my parents perfectly. Some call this group Zoomers rather than Boomers due to their demand to continue an active lifestyle well into their older years. In fact, one study has found that the number of health club memberships for the 55 plus age group has grown by over 500% versus several years ago, when the baby boomers just began turning 55. This group prides themselves on independence, which means that they will want to spend a portion of their excess income on being comfortable, safe, and healthy. And they want choices, lots of choices. Boomers are also retiring later in life. According to Baby Boomer Magazine, yes, there's a Baby Boomer magazine, 49% of boomers, or Zoomers, are delaying retirement past 66 years old. This means discretion will also rank toward the top of the list of requirements for adult incontinence products. Okay, the next factor that leads into H.B. Fuller's thinking on upcoming needs for adult incontinence: obesity. Watch this animation, which shows the change, the rise, in obesity on a state-by-state level over just the past 12 years. Lighter colors are a lower obesity rate. As darker colors appear, the obesity rates are rising. Here, in 2015, we see an even darker shade of deep blue creep in. Louisiana, specifically, now has 36 to 40% of their population as obese. Obesity can increase the likelihood of incontinence issues. The extra weight carried around a person's middle puts undue stress and pressure on the muscles of the pelvic floor. The weaker muscles sag, and then incontinence issues can arise. Being overweight can also lead to type 2 diabetes, which causes damage to the nerves that control the bladder. This obesity issue leads us to our next section. Now, let's turn our attention to the evolving needs of adults driving new product segments in adult incontinence. The baby boomer and obesity trends we just discussed point us to the need for discretion, comfort, and fit, which is not exactly easy to accomplish given the varying body shapes and sizes we see today. This picture shows a comparison of the apple-shaped body, these are people with larger midsections and skinny legs, to the pear-shaped body types, those with smaller waistlines but larger hips and thighs. And these are just two examples. As we researched this, we also learned about bananas, people with similar dimensions both above and below the waist. As part of our consumer research, H.B. Fuller has interviewed a number of users of adult incontinence. Their feedback is appearing on the screen now. In short, bulk is an issue. Consumers want more comfortable products. And there's a sizing issue. A product that fits the apple-shaped waist will likely be loose in the legs. A product that fits the waist of the pear might be difficult to get around the hips and legs of the same person. The industry has been working to address some of the needs that came across the screen on the last slide, and we see these new segments having success in the marketplace. We are seeing discretion and comfort addressed with these new entrants, but still, a gap remains. Here are the trends H.B. Fuller has charted as they apply to the global incontinence market. We continue to see development in adult incontinence products to address these needs. There are products with light and heavy absorbency to address the needs of both night and day. We are seeing softness addressed through developments of non-woven suppliers and the like. We see sleeker, thinner products on the market with advances in core materials. And we see greater use of stretch in product designs. Let's talk a bit more about stretch while focusing on a recent development from H.B. Fuller, our new Conforma stretchable adhesive. How do absorbent product manufacturers impart stretch features today? And how would they like to be able to add stretch to their products? How is the industry progressing in its quest to produce disposable products with more underwear-like fit and feel? To answer that first question, here are two typical structures for stretch features. Both of these are somewhat complex in their production process and require the stretch be placed throughout a component. Elastic stranded products have great breathability, have high retractive force, and are low in cost, but can be complex in their manufacturing and create for a bulky and puckered product. Film-based products are a bit more premium in the way they are marketed, but some have issues with breathability and are limited in their extensibility. Introducing Conforma adhesive. This is a stretchable adhesive that can be used both as a stretch engine and as the means to bring two layers of nonwoven together. It allows for a new kind of stretch. Conforma is an adhesive, meaning it can be applied with standard adhesive dispensing equipment. It can be either slot coated or sprayed, opening up a world of possibilities for design. You can conceive of products where just a touch of stretch is incorporated in very select locations. There can be varying levels of stretch achieved by varying the coat weight. You can dial in the level of stretch desired. One could also apply intermittently or just in zones. When combined with a highly extensible nonwoven, we also find that this new technology allows for extremely high levels of stretch without adding bulk. With that, less nonwoven is needed, and manufacturers no longer need to work in an activation step to achieve a thin and sleek product. And the combination also provides for very underwear-like performance. Let's take a look at that. Here is some technical data to show the underwear-like performance of a conformable fabric created with Conforma adhesive. This is a hysteresis chart showing the behavior of a product pulled to 50% beyond its original length. The horizontal axis marks the extension, or strain, and the vertical axis marks the load on the sample when pulled to a given level of strain. The first product plotted is cotton women's underwear. Now we have the first synthetic absorbent product. This one is an elastic stranded panel. The shape of the curve is just different. This one would pull back with the same behavior as when it was stretched to put it on the body. It could be too quick for some adult users, not giving sufficient time for the product to be placed comfortably. Here's a leading film-based product, getting better. In fact, we have tested a number of products over the past few years, and only recently have we seen anything approaching the hysteresis curve of cotton underwear. So it's close, but still different. Here now is the conformable fabric. Note the shape of the curve most closely mimics that of cotton underwear. You're encouraged to ask for a sample so that you can touch and feel the conformable fabric. And when you do, let me preempt a comment that we hear often. Due to the softness and drape of the conformable fabric we have for sampling, our customers sometimes question the permanent set characteristics. In fact, the permanent set of the conformable fabric made with Conforma adhesive is on par with leading film-based adult incontinence products on the market. In this chart, one wants to see a low bar indicating that the product was pulled to a certain strain level, which is shown on the z-axis, and that it returned close to its original size, which is the y-axis. This chart shows 3 products sold in the US, the first 2 being global brands, the third a popular private label. All 3 are film-based laminates. You can see that the permanent set of the conformable fabric, the last set of bars on the right, is better than the private label product and close to matching the performance of one of the premium global brands at these strain levels. Now, it's not normal for film-based products to be stretched beyond about 100% today. Conforma adhesive will change that. Let's take a look at one more hysteresis chart to show you what is possible. We'll see what happens when the products are pulled to their maximum extension. Let's start off by looking at some cotton underwear on the market. The light blue line is that same pair of women's cotton underwear from before. We've now also added men's and boys' cotton underwear. Before we go too far, I should pause to explain this test a bit. It is another hysteresis test, but this time it is a force control test. What I mean is that we stretch the material to a predetermined force, in this case 10 newtons. We then allow it to relax and stretch it again to 10 newtons. We then allow it to relax a second time. On the third cycle, we pull the structure to the point of failure. Taking a second to digest the data on this chart, we can see that the boys' cotton underwear, shown here, would not feel as tight at the 50% strain level as the women's underwear. This also shows that cotton underwear, especially the boys', can be designed to stretch quite far. Now we're adding the first of the absorbent products, one constructed from a film-based laminate. While it mimics the women's cotton underwear quite nicely to about 50%, as we saw in the earlier chart, note this steep spike in load after the 65% mark. This is where this particular laminate hits its force wall. This is the limit of its extensibility without putting significant stress on the chosen nonwoven. While this could be tailored, it would come at the expense of bulkiness, as more nonwoven would have to be added in order to increase its extensibility. Next, we add an elastic stranded product. This one stretches quite a bit farther, but look at what's happening at the 150% and beyond mark. It starts to display erratic behavior. This is where the strands are either breaking or being pulled away from the nonwoven. Keep in mind that the primary driver of higher extensibility for the elastic stranded product is bulky nonwoven. The strands themselves can go a very long way, but at the expense of a bulky product. Here, let's clean up the picture a little. This roller coaster is what I'm talking about. Finally, we overlay the conformable fabric, which is comprised of Conforma adhesive and a highly extensible nonwoven. Together, these form a structure that stretches with ease and can achieve much higher strain levels than the film-based laminate without adding bulk. You'll also note that failure does not occur until well past 300%, and there is a very linear increase in load matching that of the boys' underwear. This would result in the comfort sought by this generation of baby boomers and could also accommodate for a wide variety of body shapes and sizes. So, if you're a product designer, this could lead you to either create a product that fits both the pear-shaped and the apple-shaped wearer. Or you could use the concept to keep the number of SKUs you manage to a reasonable number. Or you could downsize your features, leading to some attractive economics. Allow me to use this graphic to explain how you could use this technology in multiple ways. Remember that film-based laminates are limited in extensibility by their force wall. Elastic stranded products are limited by bulk. Conforma-based products are not limited by either. In fact, there is a synergistic relationship between the nonwoven and the adhesive. Each reinforces the other, allowing for extremely high extensibility. Conforma adhesive allows for a new kind of stretch. So envision this graphic as any portion of your hygienic product, be it a side panel, a belly band, a full pair of underwear, an ear, etc. With today's technology, if one were going for a thin design, you could expect it to stretch about 75%. If you were to make that same feature using Conforma adhesive, you could plan to stretch it to about 175%. So that's great if you want to take advantage of the trend for obesity and different body shapes and create a product to appeal to that market segment. It would feel good on the wearer at both 75 and 175%. Or, if that is not what you're going for, you could consider downsizing the stretch feature to create a lower cost product, and it would look something like this. The conformable fabric gets thinner as the product is stretched. So an initial basis weight of 125 grams per square meter becomes 62 grams per square meter as it is stretched to 100%, and goes down to 42 grams per square meter as it is stretched to 200%, and so on. Both the adhesive layer and the nonwoven become thinner as the product is stretched. So, you could design a smaller stretch feature to do the same job as today's feature does for you. Taken to the extreme, you can imagine perhaps a tiny pair of underwear that fits a larger body even. At the very least, you can envision an ear and see that a small ear can take the place of a larger ear to serve the same purpose. You could also use this concept to converge sizes and reduce the number of SKUs you manage, reducing your changeover time and complexity of your operations. And in every case, you'd gain the benefit of bringing a disposable product to the market that has that coveted cotton underwear-like performance. So, to wrap things up, we've shown you today that we are about to see a change in demand from a very important segment of the consumer market. These Zoomers want discretion so that they can remain active. They have money to spend on products that make them feel comfortable and secure. Not everyone in this market segment has the same body type. There's a need for products that fit a variety of body shapes and sizes. Stretch is growing in its importance to the disposable products market, but it has been limited due to cost and application complexity. Consumers also crave disposable products that look and feel like cotton underwear. One way to achieve all of these ends is to bring Conforma adhesive into your design thinking. Whether it be a little bit of stretch just in certain zones or a product with all over stretch, Conforma allows you to stretch your possibilities and meet consumer needs. It's a new kind of stretch and exactly what the market has been waiting for.